In the spring of 1922, a horrifying crime shook rural Germany. On a remote farm called Hinterkaifeck, 6 people were brutally murdered under circumstances so strange and unsettling that the case remains unsolved more than a century later. What makes the mystery especially disturbing is not only the violence itself, but the eerie events that reportedly happened before the murders.
The farm was home to the Gruber family, Andreas Gruber, his wife Casilia, their widowed daughter Victoria, Victoria's 2 children, and the family's maid. Hinterkaifeck stood isolated, surrounded by forests and fields, far from nearby villages. Life there was quiet, routine, and physically demanding. But in the days leading up to the murders, Andreas Gruber began noticing strange things around the property. At first, they seemed small. Then they became terrifying.
According to reports, Andreas discovered footprints leading from the forest toward the farmhouse. What disturbed him was this: there were no footprints leading back out. It was as if someone had walked to the farm and never left. Soon afterward, other strange incidents occurred. Keys went missing. Unfamiliar noises were heard in the attic at night. The family reportedly found a newspaper they did not recognize. Andreas even told neighbors he believed someone might be hiding on the property. Yet despite his fears, no one found an intruder.
Only hours before the murders, a new maid arrived to begin work at Hinterkaifeck. Previous servants had reportedly left because they believed the farm was haunted. The new maid had barely spent a day there. She would never leave alive.
Sometime during the night of March 31, 1922, the killer struck. Investigators later believed that members of the family were lured one by one into the barn, where they were murdered with a farming tool believed to be a mattock. The violence was brutal. But what happened afterward made the case even more disturbing.
Evidence suggested that after the murders, someone remained living on the farm for several days. Neighbors later reported seeing smoke rising from the chimney. Animals had been fed. Meals appeared to have been prepared. The killer may have slept inside the house, alongside the bodies. It was a detail so chilling that it transformed the case into legend.
Days later, concerned neighbors entered the property after noticing the family had disappeared from public life. Inside, they discovered the horrifying scene. All 6 residents were dead. The isolated farm became the center of a massive investigation. But despite intense efforts, no one was ever convicted.
Over the years, numerous theories emerged. Some believed the killer was someone known to the family. Others suspected robbery, revenge, or disputes connected to the isolated farm. Several suspects were questioned, including neighbors and acquaintances. Yet every theory had gaps. No explanation fully solved the mystery.
The Hinterkaifeck murders became infamous because of the unsettling details surrounding them. The mysterious footprints. The noises in the attic. The missing keys. The possibility that someone secretly lived on the farm before the murders. And perhaps most horrifying of all, the idea that the killer calmly remained there afterward. These details created an atmosphere closer to a nightmare than a normal criminal case.
The original farmhouse was eventually demolished, but the mystery never disappeared. Books, documentaries, and investigators continue revisiting the case, trying to uncover the truth hidden within the shadows of Hinterkaifeck. But after more than 100 years, the identity of the killer remains unknown.
In the quiet countryside of Bavaria, a family vanished into one of Europe's most chilling unsolved crimes. No confession. No clear motive. No final answer. Only a lonely farmhouse. Footprints leading in from the forest. And the terrifying possibility that someone was watching the family long before the murders began.